Welcome to the Vern and Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Vern. I hope everybody is having a good week. Let me go ahead and share this live stream on Facebook. We're live on YouTube as well. Hit that thumbs up button. Get your comments in. We'll get to them throughout the stream. We've got some transfer portal news updates for you. A couple of people made their commitments official. Going to head to Baton Rouge, join LSU, join Brian Kelly, and what's looking like, honestly, potentially the number one portal class. I'm not going to jump the gun. I'm not going to give them the title yet. I know there's a lot more moves to be made, a lot more things to watch and keep in mind. We're going to be talking about the Netflix series that's supposedly dropping this summer. It's going to be like a Hard Knocks for college football. Very interesting. Got more details on that. And then we're going to break down our top 3 picks for today and tomorrow's bowl games. Today, you're going to see JMU and Western Kentucky, Cal versus University of Las Vegas. And then tomorrow, Georgia Southern and Sam Houston will take each other on in the New Orleans Bowl. And we'll update you on our bowl game content. We'll be heading to Houston. Got a couple of things that we'll be able to show you, some practices, some bowl game information. So add this presentation to the stage for y'all. Of course, the news broke. Everybody knows Oklahoma wide receiver Nick Anderson commits to the Tigers. It's a big grab. You needed to polish this wide receiver room. I'm not thinking it was the biggest need. Obviously, you got a couple of other needs that LSU should target, and we'll get to that in a little bit. No rush, though. I think the more weapons you get on that offensive side, the better your chances are of being able to push forward and inevitably get into that college football playoff. Brian Kelly's been pushing. He's been itching. LSU fans been fiending, if you will. And I think, these moves they're making are getting them to that spot where they'll eventually be able to get over that hump. Now, what you get in Nick is size, right? 6'3", 6'4", around that range. You didn't have a lot of length, right? Some people are vertically challenged in this wide receiver room. It is what it is. I mean, are they speedy? Are they shifty? Are they able to get open in space? Sure. But we need a big dude, a big vertical threat to pair with someone like a Trudez Green, who's 6'7". I think our tallest wide receiver in the room before Nick was 6'1", maybe 6'2". Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what you needed. This is a big piece. This is exciting. He had about 10 touchdowns, I believe, during one of his best seasons at Oklahoma. Now, we want to obviously see him build on that. We want to obviously see him hit his potential. There's some injury concerns. But like I said, very excited that we were able to add someone like this to this class that seems to be growing by the minute. Another addition, Destin Hill, Florida State wide receiver. He committed. 4-star during his time at Edna Karr, Louisiana native. And now he's making his return to the boot to polish off this wide receiver room as well. Now, I think this is a little more interesting of a grab. You can compare him to someone like Barry Brown. But really, when you see guys like C.J. Daniels enter the portal, obviously you got a departure in Kyron Lacey. You don't get worried, but you just wonder, where's the direction going? I mean, I didn't think C.J. Daniels would have entered the portal and inevitably transferred to Miami, as he announced this morning. But now it makes a little more sense. Maybe LSU was, set on these guys from months prior. I'm not sure if this is going to be an instant reaction to C.J. Daniels leaving, or if this was just them trying to get depth now because they didn't want to just have to go forward with what they had. They wanted to make sure they had enough depth. They wanted to make sure they didn't have to push the younger guys out there. I mean, you got a couple of pieces from your recruiting class this year in Teron Francis, and you got a couple of other shiny pieces that are young and have potential in Kylan Billiot, Jelani Watkins. But these veteran, experienced pieces out of the transfer portal, I feel like are much more valuable than a younger cat. And I'm not saying the experience always outweighs potential skill or growth or whatever the case may be. But I mean, in the SEC, you got a lot more confidence in people that have walked the walk, been around the block a couple times, especially when you're talking about wide receiver depth and just that position in general. Very challenging, very difficult. The depth now, Nick and Aaron Anderson probably going to be your top 2 wideouts. I'd imagine Aaron Anderson will have a very big year. Chris Hilton, obviously, Xavier Thomas, Destin Hill, Barry Brown, Kylan Billiot. It looks good. It looks very promising. It looks like it's improving. I mean, obviously, you never know until they're out there on the field. You never know who's going to be the biggest name, who's going to be the guy that carries that torch of LSU wide receiver U and just the overall, platform that LSU provided for wide receiver talents that inevitably transcend to the league and ball out. It'll be interesting to see who takes that role and who's going to be the next one to join guys like Malik, Jamar, Jake Jettis. Let's talk about another transfer that I believe will be visiting today and tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure, but Sadir Mitchell, Texas D lineman, someone to watch. He was recruited by Bo Davis. It'll be interesting to see if you could add even more experience to this position, right? Adding to our point with the wide receivers, you want to have guys putting this younger generation of recruits that LSU's garnered at that spot in the right direction. You can't just have them guiding themselves. And in the defensive line room, you got two really big pieces in Dominic McKinley and Ahmad Bro. And of course, you got a nice big vet in Jacoby Guillory that'll be alongside him all year. But adding a little bit of a younger piece like this and Sadir, it makes you that much more confident in not only Bo Davis and what he's doing on that side of the ball, but just the fact that your defense is not only getting better, it'll probably be a problem at the end of the day. I think, LSU was in a spot where that defensive line was holding them back, at least in terms of the depth that you had and the pieces that you had to work with, and the fact that you're battling a lot of injuries, and also, combating how many people left the year prior. There was a lot of things up in the air, new coaches, a lot of new coaches, pretty much a whole new staff. And I think they answered the call really well. And I think this portal class that comes in will be a little bit easier to translate and to transition with, because going, into a new environment as a coach with players that have already been taught ways and methods by other coaches, it's kind of hard to break habits. It's kind of hard to get them all in the right direction. And I'm not saying it's impossible, because they got it done. But this offseason and going forward, it'd be interesting to watch these pieces. And if someone like Sadir can come in and already have a little bit of what Bo was looking for, he might be that much more ahead. There's a Washington State offensive tackle that you should keep your eye on as well. Falili, I believe, is how you pronounce his first name. Forgive me if I butchered it. It's a nice name, but he's visiting LSU in Nebraska. He has 3 years of experience, and you need help at offensive line bad. I mean bad. You lost 4 people out of 5. You're only returning your center. And a lot of people are thinking that the center needs a little bit more depth as well. So you really can't go wrong with any transfer or any type of addition to this room. Give Brad Davis some things to work with, please. Another position I would highlight is safety. And we've been talking about it. And the worry grows as Zachariah Poyser, that Jacksonville State safety, he joined CJ Daniels in Miami. And shout out to Cristobal and that portal class that they're putting together, because it's not going unnoticed. I don't know who you look toward. I don't know what you do, but it's going to be one of the biggest things that I think the Tigers are going to have to fix going into this year or this offseason. I think that safety position might be your Achilles heel. The DB room is pretty much the most important. Without it, you're going to be putting a lot of stress on other spots. And it was a big concern this season. And you might not have enough pieces going forward. Like Sage Ryan is in the portal. Major Burns is going to be departing. Colin Jackson losing does hurt, but moving forward with guys like Jordan Gilbert, Deshaun Spears, you're going to have to put a lot of trust and faith into them and hoping that they develop, because if you're not getting any pieces in the portal depth-wise, you're going to have a pretty short list to be able to pick from. I do want to point out, though, just the fact that LSU's in this situation in the transfer portal, turning a lot of heads, pulling in a lot of names, and making the Bryce Underwood decision it makes a lot more sense now, at least for, lack of a better phrase. I'm not saying that the fans' reaction was unnecessary, but it looks like it's changing. It looks like a lot of people are a lot more happy with Brian Kelly. The money thing kind of helped out a little bit, the $1 million match, and then you got your anonymous donor coming in with another $1 million. So all in all, LSU could have generated roughly $3 million in NIL revenue in about 30 days. It's very impressive, and it looks like that's kind of been the steam and the extra, fire burning them right now. Last thing that I want to talk about before we move out of this segment, you got to answer this question. If you're getting all this NIL money, all of these moves in the portal, all these defensive polishing moments, you got to get Harold Perkins to 100% commit to coming back. You got to get the statement on the Instagram. You got to get whatever you need done. Get the video, get the production going. We need Perk back this offseason. We need him back more than really anything at this point, because I'm not saying that he'd be your answer to some potential back end issues, but having someone like that, having a talent like that, being able to throw him out there in different packages and have some versatility I think it's going to put you in a better situation because, like I said, I do think the secondary and specifically the safety room will continue to be a little bit of an issue, a little bit of a weak spot. And how do you combat that? In my opinion, you combat that with intense pressure so your DBs don't have to guard that long. If your safety room and that whole over the top part of your defense is a worry, well, on that front end, you should have some dogs ready to bash some teeth in, simply put. And I think you can get that. I think the more that you recruit guys to put alongside of Harold Perkins, the more the opportunity looks appealing. The more he's probably like, okay, you know what, we're headed in the right direction. I'm a buy in. I'm not saying the writing's on the wall here. Obviously, you got to hear the player say it. But Harold Perkins coming back, it'll probably suit him the best. Draft stock goes up. Obviously, able to recover and show scouts that he should be a first round talent. That the injury did not, hinder the speed, prevent him from getting to that potential. That's what everybody's worried about, especially when you have a major injury like that. They want to see you get back. They want to see you get to a point where, they can put all the chips on you and they can have 100% trust in the fact that you're going to be able to answer the bell when needed. Before we talk about this Netflix series, I want to shout out Happy Dad. You know the drill. Gluten-free, low in sugar, no artificial flavors, the best tasting hard seltzer on the market, and you know where to get it. Rouse's, Walmart, Albertsons, pretty much every grocery store in South Louisiana. And if you don't have one of those near you, then you can go on the internet, happydad.com, or you can use the link in our description. Use code Vernon15 at checkout. Grab your 15% off. Get the merchandise, purple and gold Happy Dad shirts. Hey, stock up. Stock up before the season gets into full swing. Speaking of seasons, though, this past season, Netflix was plotting on the SEC. They're going to give us some unprecedented access. I'm going to compare it to a college Hard Knocks. It's like a reality TV show model that'll give us unfiltered access to coaches and players in the SEC from this past season. Now, it's not every SEC school. I'm sure a lot of people already have some schools in mind of who they'd want to see and coaches and players that they'd want to watch. All 16 teams are obviously given the opportunity, but 10 SEC schools will be featured. LSU, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Kentucky, Miss State, South Carolina, Tennessee, A&M, and Vanderbilt. Some big names. I mean, you're going to get to watch Vandy's rise. Obviously, LSU is going to have some good game footage in there. I think there was about 2 or 3 games that at least I knew they were at. Never know. It could have been hiding, flying on the wall. Could have had a really small camera. I don't know, but there were some interesting opportunities in the SEC this season, to say the least. It'll come out this summer, 2025. I really would have liked to see Alabama in it for obvious reasons. Just watching the new transition with Kalen DeBoer, inevitably the college football playoff collapse. But there's a lot of other great moments that they're going to be able to keep up with. Let's move into some other college football news. Everybody saw Michael Vick. Mike Vick getting into the coaching realm. He took the head coaching opportunity at Norfolk State. He was in the mix for Sacramento State as well. But to give you some added information as to why he made the decision to coach the Spartans, it's about 20 miles from his hometown. And it's interesting. I mean, you're watching Michael Vick now join people like Coach Prime, joining the coaching realm after the playing career, and the NIL space, especially in college, it caters to that. I mean, having somebody that's already been through what you want to go through, that could be a model for what you want to go through. I mean, he's coaching at an HBCU. Michael Vick was the first Black quarterback taken with the first pick overall in the NFL. I mean, there's a lot of things that he can inspire people along the way with. So it'll be an interesting opportunity for sure. One more note I want to talk about with college football. If you're a video game player, this will probably not surprise you just by the amount of hype and all the views generated by this video game and the launch. But EA Sports College Football 25 is the highest selling sports game in United States history. It beat NBA 2K21. I believe season 4 drops today if you're a college football ultimate team player. Shout out Coco in the chat. They got some interesting cards. I believe the corner transfer from Virginia Tech, he's going to get a card. I think he's their gauntlet champion for the season. It's going to be exciting. But shout out to EA getting the highest selling sports game in American history. It's not a lot of competition. I'm sure it's Madden, 2K, maybe UFC. But all in all, College Football 25, you've seen us play it a lot on the show. You're going to get to see some more videos coming up, so stay tuned. But I wanted to give them a little bit of kudos. Maybe they'll juice my packs going forward, hopefully help us out. Let's move on to this preview for the bowl games. I know we kind of did a little bit of an accidental glimpse earlier, but we'll put it back up on the screen. You got Western Kentucky and James Madison University. Now, this game, I think it could be interesting, right? I think JMU has the better defense. Western Kentucky's kind of been struggling, at least scoring the ball. I think their last 4 games, they're averaging like 15 points per game, even though they're saying they're in the 25 point per game range. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet, and I'm not going to bore you with it. I think James Madison wins. They're favored by 7, but I'm not going to go as far as to say a touchdown will be the point spread deciding factor. I'm going to go ahead and just be safe, take the money line, and we'll start this top 3 segment off with a nice guaranteed win, hopefully. Let's move on to the LA Bowl, hosted by Gronk. Apparently, I'm confused. I don't know. University of California and University of Las Vegas are battling it out. Here is some interesting statistics, right? Las Vegas scores 36 points per game. Cal's outside the top 80 in points per game. Now, that's a horrible discrepancy that makes me feel like it's a little bit unbalanced. And UNLV obviously has some some questions to answer. Their head coach is gone, but Dan Mullen's coming in. So it's not like everybody's clocked out. It's not like every single player doesn't care. I think some people are going to want to show out for Dan Mullen, their new coach. And I think we got to add some more clarity to Cal and why I'm kind of underrating them a little bit. They lost their quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. They lost their wide receiver, Nizia Hunter. Just don't think you're going to be able to replace that production with backups and guys that have not been incorporated as much. This is bowl season now, though, with the transfer portal, with all these different windows, all these teams playing are usually not, the team that you saw all season, which that sometimes is unfortunate. But I mean, like I said, it's the world of college football that we live in. I think these odds are way too close. They're giving you a 3.5 point spread for the University of Las Vegas, and I think they're only favored minus 155 on the money line. I think those odds are horrible. I would grab UNLV. Take whatever one you want. If you want the spread, take the spread. I would take the money line, rather not sweat out the points. Pretty much the same odds. So JMU money line, UNLV money line. Last but not least, let's move on to the New Orleans Bowl tomorrow. Georgia Southern versus Sam Houston. First things first, shout out to Sam Houston because this is their first FBS Bowl ever. First one in history for their program, and they just lost their head coach, unfortunately. So they just got to the mountaintop. They just got a bowl game appearance, and Casey Keeler gets yonked to Temple. I don't care. I'm still feeling the Sam Houston hype train. Your first bowl game, and you're going to get mollywopped? 5-point spread? I'm not buying it. I'll take Sam Houston +5. I'm not going to take the money line all the way. I'm not overzealous, but I do think you got an interesting opportunity here. The defense for Sam Houston is okay. Offense obviously favors Georgia Southern, but I think just the fact that it's their first bowl game, we cannot handicap heart. Dana White said it best. You can't handicap heart, baby. I think it'll be interesting to watch. So don't hold me to it. But that's my picks for these interesting games to the next 2 days. When you got a bowl game on Wednesday and a bowl game on Thursday, you're in for a treat. Speaking of bowl games, let's talk about LSU's real quick before we hop out of here. We'll be in Houston, obviously, for the Texas Bowl versus Baylor. We'll have our usual coverage. It's the 3rd bowl game that we're doing, 3rd year in a row. Time flies, man. It's been a good little run. Hopefully LSU can continue to have some off-season success, because the last time they were in a Texas Bowl, the last bowl before Brian Kelly, actually, Coach Armstrong's year, they lost to Kansas State. Embarrassing performance, but we're not in that same boat. We don't have to play a wide receiver at quarterback. We don't have all these, confusing narratives going around the locker room. I think it'll be an interesting performance. Baylor's a pretty decent opponent. I believe Arenado's there, licking his lips, licking the chops, waiting for the opportunity. We'll have a practice viewing on Sunday, December 28th. I'm not sure if cameras are allowed. We'll keep you updated. I know everybody loves the practice footage, but we'll be there nonetheless. We'll have info regardless. Then there'll be a Rodeo Bowl event later that night. Not too sure on the details of that, but we'll have some opportunities to talk with players. Just kind of give you some content from that. And I do want to make some announcements as far as the content schedule going forward. So we're going to move our Monday stream to Sunday, December 22nd coming up. We'll do it Sunday. We're going to take that Monday off. Christmas Day on Wednesday, obviously, off. And then we're going to have our regular stream Friday, the 27th. And we're going to move our Monday stream to Sunday, the 29th. So we'll be live Friday, like regular, then Sunday, no Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. We'll keep you updated. I'll keep reminding you. Before you leave, please support us. Hit the thumbs up. Y'all have a great day. I appreciate all of y'all for the support, for watching the stream. And I hope y'all have a good rest of the week. Hopefully, we got some more LSU Transfer Portal news to break down Friday. Hopefully, some big things happen. Nothing too catastrophic. Let's just continue to build toward a national championship season, hopefully. Let's keep lighting up the path. Path looking good right now. Potentially #1 portal class. We got some more moves to make, though. You got 2 more big visits, both of them in the trenches, and you've got to try to find something to stop the bleeding at that safety position. This has been the Verdant Verdict. Please like the stream, and y'all have a good one.